Hello to all my beautiful viewers out there. Today we're going to be talking about why Jordan 1 collectors and sneaker collectors in general dislike or hate the Air Jordan 1 mids. Now, I thought I would do this video because a lot of people are like, why does Daniel hate the Air Jordan 1 mid? Why do heaps of sneaker YouTubers hate the Air Jordan 1 mid? Why is all this hate surrounding the Air Jordan 1 mid? I have a pair myself. Well, I don't understand why everyone hates them. Well, this is why. Personally, myself, I may add, I have no Air Jordan 1 mids because I don't like them. And this is why. If we wind the clock back to 1985, when the Air Jordan 1 first released, it released in two heights. It released in the Air Jordan 1 High, so the high cut, or alternatively, there were two colorways for the Air Jordan 1 Low, a low cut version that looks very, very similar to the Nike Air Force. A lot of people that don't know a lot about sneakers generally get the two confused. Now, you may have just noticed, oh, it released in two heights, high or low. It didn't release in a mid-cut. And yes, in 1985 and 1986, when the Air Jordan 1 got most of its original OG colorways, it did not get a mid-release. Now, a lot of people that collect Air Jordans, a lot of people that collect sneakers, very much like to collect the sneakers that have a lot of historical value or have a historical story behind them. The Air Jordan 1 mid was never worn by Michael Jordan, has no history in the Air Jordan 1 basically timeline. It really was just released as a way of, from what it seems, Nike and Jordan Brand to capitalize on just releasing general release Jordan 1s. And that's why a lot of sneakerheads and a lot of sneaker collectors just don't want the Air Jordan 1 mid in their collection, primarily because it feels like it was released just to combat the high demand for Air Jordan 1s, and instead of Jordan Brand just releasing a lot of Jordan 1 highs and a lot of Jordan 1 lows to fill that demand, they kind of just scraped like the bottom of the barrel of the Air Jordan 1 think tank and were like, if we do a mid-cut and then just release like hundreds of colorways, that'll satisfy the demand. It's kind of a cheap way of handling what the community wants out of the Air Jordan brand by just releasing a cut that never existed in the Air Jordan 1 timeline and then just slapping every single colorway they can. They release so many colorways a year of the Air Jordan 1 mids just to like pump out Air Jordan 1s. I kind of think it's just a waste of resources and just a waste of time pumping out all these Air Jordan 1 mids when they should be focusing on making Air Jordan 1 highs, Air Jordan 1 lows in all these colorways that they're thinking of, or at least use the, time and people to create colorways that people want in the highs and lows. And that's why I never buy the mids, because they have no history to them. And even when you buy an Air Jordan 1 high in a colorway that didn't come out in 1985 or 1986, you're still buying some of the history of the Air Jordan 1 because you're buying it in a cut that came out in 1985, a cut that Michael Jordan wore himself. You're still buying a little bit of that history, even if you don't buy a colorway that didn't come out in 1985, 1986. And that's why the Air Jordan highs, pretty much regardless of colorway, still are always sought after, still always sell really, really well. If there's just like a small story behind them, they sell really, really well. An example of that recently was the First Class Flight ones. They didn't have too much history behind them besides that the colorway was inspired by the Beavington shipping company, shipping section of Nike that they use. That was really all it was inspired by, and it still sold really, really well. Now, if that colorway, that exact colorway, which in a lot of people's eyes is kind of average, was applied to a mid, that would not sell very well at all. The main reason that Jordan 1 colorway sold, even though it's a pretty average colorway, was because it was a high top, because it still has some of that history to it, because it's a high cut sneaker, because it was like the pairs that came out in 1985, 1986. Even if the colorway didn't exist back in that time, it still has some, pizzazz, some, interest in the sneaker community because it's that high cut. Now, personally, I would love it if they just like completely cut out the Air Jordan 1 mid from the whole selection of being able to buy them, because I think it's just, as I said, a waste of time and a waste of resources. I think that personally, if they spent more time releasing more highs, spent more time releasing more lows, I think that would be better for the Air Jordan 1 fan base than it would. If they want to do like mid-cut Jordan 1s, I think they should just either just come up with a new sneaker entirely to fill that like demographic, or just release Jordan 1 highs in those colorways as general releases and have these like limited releases for like the OG colorways for people that want to buy the OG colorways, because then you're still buying an Air Jordan 1 in its true height, but you're just getting general release colorways that everyone can buy, and then they can do limited drops of that. I think that's how they should handle the Air Jordan 1 mid. They should scrap the idea of even having the mid as an option, and then just release highs in general release and have, you know, heaps and heaps of, you know, sizes available, have heaps of quantity available in those wacky colors that they do the mids in. And then, as I said, if they want to do an OG release, they want to release a colorway that came out in 1985 or 1986, they just release it in a limited quantity, and bam. I reckon that solves the issue. I don't think that we need the Air Jordan 1 mid at all. I think it's not a necessity to the community at all. I mean, there's a lot of people that will like totally feel against that. They're like, but I love my mids, and I can't afford the highs. It's like $20 difference. I personally think, regardless of how you feel about that, and if you want to, you know, dispute that, comment section below, let me know how you feel in that comment section below. I personally feel the mid should just be scrapped, and they should spend the time and resources on just doing general release high tops, and then doing limited release OG high top releases. And then I feel like it'll please the community more in the long run by doing so. I mean, maybe I'm in a small minority over here feeling that way, but I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on how you feel about it in that comment section below. Do you feel that the Air Jordan 1 mid should be scrapped and they should only focus on high top releases and low cut releases? Because I think if they do that, over time it'll please the community more than just releasing this mid top which has no history in the Air Jordan 1 timeline. It literally, there's no reason for it to exist. It's literally just a cash grab in a way from Nike and Jordan Brand, because they use subpar materials, subpar looking colorways. They literally are just like, as I said, scrape that bottom of the barrel of ideas and then throw it onto a mid, and they're like, here you go people, here's a mid release. Like it doesn't feel like any time or effort's been put into those. So I feel like they should just remove any time or effort that's put into them and spend it more wisely on other releases. As I said, comment section below, let's have a discussion about it. I think the Air Jordan 1 mid should not exist. It should go away, and they should just focus on highs and lows. But let's have a conversation in that comment section below, guys. Let's talk about it. And that's all I've really got to say, guys. I would like to say thank you for tuning into the channel. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Keeps you up to date with everything that I've got posting, everything that's going on in the sneaker world and streetwear world. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you think the Air Jordan 1 mid should be a thing? Do you reckon it should go away? What's your thoughts and opinions on it? Let me know in that comment section below. Don't forget, while you're scrolling on down, follow all those socials in the description section below. Helps keep up to date with everything that I'm posting, everything that's going on. And that's all I've really got to say about it, guys. I personally feel that the Air Jordan 1 mid just shouldn't exist. The highs and lows should be the utmost priority, and they should focus on that. A lot of other channels, a lot of bigger channels on YouTube definitely seem like they feel like we should be doing general release high tops instead of making every single high top release limited. I might touch on that in another video, but that's how I feel about how we should handle the Air Jordan 1 mid, and then how we should work with the highs, everything like that. Thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, guys, and that is it. That is why Air Jordan 1 sneakerheads in general don't like the mids, because they have no presence in the Jordan 1 timeline. They were never worn by Michael Jordan. They use subpar materials, subpar colorways. They really do just feel like a cash grab and a waste of resources. And that's why in a lot of Jordan 1 collections, you generally just don't see them prop up. They generally just don't come up in people's collections, because people that are really into Air Jordan 1s just don't want them. So that's it, guys. Until next time, I'll catch you later.